A lot of people struggle with the production subscore on the Duolingo English test. So to help you, I'm going to go through one question from each type asked on this test that affects this particular subscore. Each question will follow a particular format. You'll see a sample question, pause the video to answer it yourself, and then you'll see my sample answer. And then I will share some study tips with you to help you with this question type. The question types that we will cover today are describe an image in writing, describe an image aloud, read a question and then write, read a question and then speak, listen to a question and then speak, and then read aloud. We'll start with describe an image in writing. Give yourself 1 minute to answer this question. Okay, here is my answer. I suggest that you start by learning a few introductory statements that you can use. This question can appear up to 7 times, so you really want to learn at least 4 so that you're not repeating yourself over and over more than a couple of times. So for example, you could say, this is a picture of. In this picture we can see. In this photo there is. This is a photograph of. You can learn the ones that you like and just practice them. Also, practice adjectives that describe the 5 senses because this kind of wording can help bring an image to life. It's also helpful to review prepositions of location so that you can talk about where things are in an image. And I think that since this is a writing task, it's good to just open your computer, pick anything around you, and describe that thing. You can also go onto Google image search and find some random pictures and just practice. Practice describing anything. You get better with practice. Describe an image aloud. Give yourself 1.5 minutes to answer this question. And here is my answer. In this photo, I see a young family playing in the ocean waves. It's a mother and father with a very young child. This seems to have been an unplanned trip to the beach, as everyone is dressed in regular clothing and they're not dressed for swimming. The woman is holding a helmet, so I think they were out for a drive and then decided to go play in the surf. This looks like such a fun and memorable day. You have 1.5 minutes to answer this question, so you probably can say a little bit more with the spoken question than the written question. It takes us a little bit less time to speak than to write, and you have a little bit more time. But you can use the same wording that you used in the written format. So when you're studying for one, you're kind of studying for both. You can use the same introductory phrases and adjectives. The difference here is you just need to practice saying these things aloud. The study guide for the Duolingo English test tells us to describe the image as if you're with a person who cannot see it. So just practice by speaking out loud to yourself whenever you can. Describe things as if you're telling it to someone on the phone or you're telling someone who can't see. Record yourself because I think going back and listening to yourself can really help. You can notice if you have word pronunciation that's difficult. Next, we're on read, then write. And you must respond to the question in at least 50 words. Give yourself 5 minutes to answer this question. And here's my answer. Practice this question type by going online and finding some sample questions. You can do 1 or 2 questions every day. The more you write, the better you get at writing, so just practice as if you're taking the test. Time yourself for 5 minutes, and then go back and take all the time you need to analyze and review. Look for your topic sentence and think of ways that you could improve that topic sentence. Find your supporting sentence or sentences. Does each sentence directly support your topic sentence? Then look at your concluding sentence. Make sure it makes sense. Can you tell the topic of your paragraph by reading that concluding sentence? That's a good guideline. Now, go back and rewrite your paragraph. It takes time, but this kind of practice will really help you improve. Read and then speak. Give yourself a minute and a half to answer this question. And my answer is, my favorite place to go outside of my home when I want to be alone is Bald Mountain. This is a wildlife management area, and it's located just a few miles from my home. This place allows me to be alone in the tranquil forests surrounded by wildlife. When I'm in this place, the problems and the stressors of everyday life are just left behind, and my only goal is to just walk. I found this place when I wanted to explore the area where I live and find a beautiful and uncrowded place to go for a walk. My favorite getaway when I just don't want to be at home, but I still want to be alone is definitely Bald Mountain. My advice to prepare for this question is, again, this is a question type that you can just practice by doing. You can speak up to a minute and a half. So record yourself answering the questions and find some sample questions online and do one per day. Record yourself. Listen for the same thing that you would check in your writing. Is there a topic sentence? Do you go off the topic in your supporting sentences? Do you answer all parts of the question? Do you have a sentence that's a concluding sentence, or do you just stop talking? These are all things you can check for, and it's really good practice just to do this on a regular basis. Do at least one question per day. Next question is listen then speak. You'll hear a question and then you can respond to it. Give yourself a minute and a half to answer this question. Is social media making us more self-centered? Is social media making us more self-centered? I feel social media is making people more self-centered now than in the past. These days, people are constantly posting selfies, and these can range from pictures of someone blowing a kiss to the camera to vacation photos. And if it's not photos of selfies, it can be photos of every meal ever eaten. Self-absorption doesn't end with photos, however, as a quick scroll through my social media always subjects me to unsolicited opinions and advice about anything and everything from everyone I've ever met, because everyone is constantly sharing their thoughts in my news feeds. Technology has changed, and it's giving everyone a public forum. I think people are using this forum for very self-absorbed reasons for the most part. And so, therefore, I think social media is definitely making people more self-centered. This is as much of a listening question as it is a speaking question, because in order to produce a correct answer, you need to really understand the question being asked. So I advise going online and finding questions. Ask a friend to say them to you. And if you don't have a friend, you can try using one of those text-to-speak apps. Just try your best to find questions without reading them first. Then practice listening and answering the questions. Record yourself. I advise going through the same process as with the previous question. As you listen to yourself, just review if you have a topic sentence and a concluding sentence, and make sure your supporting sentences are answering the question directly. Make sure you're not going off topic. And make sure that you answered all components of the question. I might also then really analyze the question to make sure you did understand the spoken question. Our last question is read aloud. So you just record yourself saying a sentence, and it will look like this. You have 20 seconds to complete this question, and it records when you press that record button. It was getting dark, and we weren't there yet. My advice is to really think of this as a pronunciation question. You want to speak clearly, and you want to pause if there's a comma, and you also want to pause, for example, if there is a period or a full stop. For questions, you want to think about using intonation patterns, rising intonation patterns. So practice this by reading aloud. I think it's a really good idea to go online and look for dictations, and you can type in a search engine, English sentences for dictation. This will pull up some sites that have examples, and you can practice using those. As always, I wish you the best of luck on your Duolingo English test. Comment below and let me know how you do on your test. I always want to hear from you. And I'm still asking about visas. I want to know when you get your visa interviews, or even when you get your appointments, how you did with the appointment. I always like to hear how you're making progress towards your goals. Until next time, bye.